Sit up straight, don't slouch. Those words from everyone's childhood still ring in our ears. Well, it turns out there was more to them than just good manners. Bad posture could kill you.
It's a growing trend, standing and working, with many people globally buying into the concept.
Now that I'm used to it, my back is feeling much better.
Our sedentary lifestyles are taking their toll. Sitting in traffic for hours, slouched at our computers for the whole day, and taking these bad habits home are placing further stress on our necks. And as we pore over our devices, the consequences are far more serious than previously thought, according to Professor Vicky Lambert of the Sports Science Institute.
We know, for example, and this has come even from the study of weightlessness in space, because again, there's no gravity and what have you, that when you actually have prolonged sitting, it actually reduces the muscle's ability to take up glucose or sugar for energy. It also actually increases the fat in the blood, or the triglycerides in the blood, and it is also associated with an increased inflammatory profile, and that is associated with chronic disease.
Sitting for extended hours with no exercise is referred to by some as the new smoking. Professor Lambert alerted us to a Canadian researcher's study.
When he queried people that sat for almost all of the time, the risk of dying of any cause was 50% greater. Now, this has been replicated in studies of almost 250,000 adults in Australia, and again, most recently, in 1 million adults in a combined cohort globally.
And then there are the office injuries that some workers say they're picking up from extended hours sitting at their computers. Research psychologist Rebecca Hellman's troubles began soon after leaving university and starting her first desk job.
So the pain started in my shoulder, but actually would sort of spread right up my neck, and actually I'd end up with really bad headaches. So it made it really difficult to work, and just getting home every day in pain and then waking up feeling slightly better and knowing I was going to have to go back to a day of pain has been really difficult.
Prominent Cape Town physiotherapist Lisa Randomski is seeing the fallout. What percentage of people come through your door with office-related complaints?
We probably find about 50% of some sort or other. And, you know, even if they maybe not directly coming in with that, it certainly is a contributory factor. So we see a broad spectrum of conditions, but we see a lot of spinal conditions, a lot of back and neck problems, lower back problems, and a lot of it is because of poor ergonomics or people just having jobs where they're sitting a lot during the day.
The modern-day lifestyle and workplace demands appear to have led to an explosion in back and neck complaints. And it's that context which has given rise to a new buzzword: office ergonomics. With the amount of research emerging, it's no wonder some people are taking a serious look at their workspaces, where they spend much of their day.
People forget that they are walking biomechanics. You're walking bunch of levers that interact very complexly in certain, every time you move your arm, a whole lot of processes need to occur internally, externally, on so many different levels. But then you interact with a very static environment to some degree. And so ergonomics is finding a way to improve the external environment to accommodate the human being.
Cecily Schmidt, a physiotherapist by training, now spends her time helping companies achieve a more ergonomic environment to avoid office injuries.
Okay, so your common injuries are low back pain, okay, and neck pain. In fact, I think one of the most common injury in office workers tends to be neck pain, tension in these muscles, and over here, headaches, and then arm pain. So a lot of people working particularly on the mouse tend to get pain here in the forearm, and then carpal tunnel, and that's related to a nerve here, and they can get pins and needles, numbness and weakness in the hand.
But even the most ergonomic workstation can't eliminate the impact of other factors, such as age, smoking, stress, and genetics.
So somebody that sits at their desk and does all the right things as far as exercise and posture is concerned, but they really battle, and then somebody else who's got absolutely shocking posture and never has a problem. So there really isn't a one-size-fits-all.
But Schmidt says there are ways we can improve our workstations to help reduce the risk of developing pain. Unless you're visually impaired, she says that the screen should always be at arm's length.
If it isn't, you will tend to sit forward. So you can have a 12,000 Rand chair and not be using it because your monitor sat at the wrong position, and that is very common.
Right. She believes computer screens should always be at eye level to prevent your neck from bending. And instead of buying a computer or monitor stand, 2 packs of printing paper will always do the trick. An added element of office ergonomics are the standing desks, which some say have reduced their office injuries, as well as re-energizing them.
When you're sitting the whole day, you're stuck, and you're stuck in that position, and just you and your screen. Whereas when you're standing, you're a little bit more mobile. You see, I've got my headphones on, I'm listening to music, and occasionally then I do the little jiggle, so it's quite nice that I'm able to move around a bit.
It's not just about standing, and it's not just reducing sitting. It's about reducing prolonged sitting time. It's important to break up prolonged sitting time.
Professor Lambert believes one should actually get up and walk around 6 times an hour, but agrees that that could be impractical.
But the benefits, for example, of just getting up for, say, a 10-minute period after a 2-hour period of sitting are probably more practicable and actually make more sense, and the benefits are similar.
Some local companies are now giving their workers the choice of whether to sit or stand while at work.
I've found that ergonomics is really very, very important to your productivity and to your health. And having found that out for myself, you try and apply it to your workspace for everyone else, because you realize that, if I was 20 years younger, I would have wanted to know that, and I would have wanted to work in an environment where my company had looked after us better.
A sedentary environment, on the other hand, could have a significant health impact, says Professor Lambert.
We know now that sitting time is an independent risk factor for many of these conditions: obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and even all causes of mortality.
With some research alerting us to the perils of our sedentary lifestyles, legislation around ergonomics might soon be implemented in South Africa to reduce office injuries. A changing working environment is now almost certain.
It's all good and well to go to the physio or the chiropractor or the body stress release person, but you've got to be mindful about what you're doing during the day. And that would be about checking all the work surfaces and things that you're doing that are going to prevent problems.